What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about a common race hustle tactic, a very common race hustle tactic that you will run into, and that being the Race Murphy's Law. The Race Murphy's Law is pretty much based off of Murphy's Law, which says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It was coined by Edward A. Murphy in 1949. He was a scientist for the Air Force, and he was involved in various projects. And one of the projects that he was involved in was studying the how the human body reacts or responds to deceleration. Going from high rates of speeds to slow speeds or to a dead stop, something like carrier landings. But so the idea of if anything can go wrong, will go wrong. It was a principle that was useful for him, and basically any people doing any projects. If you can eliminate any problems, or if something can go wrong, let's deal with it. Let's deal with all contingencies, or as many as we can. You can't deal with all contingencies, but let's deal with as many as we can. So it was very useful for him, and that's why he coined it. But the race Murphy's law says that anything that can be race will be race. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as we can find race into something. It could be a box of saltine crackers. If some racist out there can find racism in the box of, a can of tuna, it doesn't matter what it is. If they can find racism in it, they're gonna cry about it. So anything that can be race will be race. So let's make a big deal out of it. Let's cry up a storm. Perfect example would be things Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special. We've been watching it for years. I remember when I was a child, I used to couldn't wait to watch the Thanksgiving special, that Charlie Brown special, as well as the Christmas one, and Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. But now a Thanksgiving Charlie Brown is racist. Why? Well, because one of the characters, the black character Franklin, during the meal was sitting on the side by himself, I believe. So now that's racism, and that's racist. Eating their popcorn and all. That just goes to show you how people can find racism in anything. And I always talk about Tariq Nasheed. He's a perfect test subject for this because he's always evoking the race Murphy's law. I always talk about globalism and the New World Order and the move to create about a one world government. Well, he says there is no globalist elitist. There is no Illuminati. It's only white supremacists. So he takes globalism, he takes the New World Order movement and put a race spin on it. And he does this with everything. He can go to McDonald's and order a hot fudge sundae, right? And they don't give him his little pack of nuts. It's white supremacy, over a pack of nuts. It could be a whole a can of mixed nuts. It doesn't matter. Race hustlers will make race out of everything, and you have to resort to this type of tactic when you don't have any real examples. And it's not even just the race hustlers. It's really liberal leftists. Social justice warriors. They use it. Now the song, the Christmas Carol, "Baby It's Cold Outside" is sexist. So now the feminists are saying that's sexist. And that just goes to show you how the level, the links that they will go through to try to demonize one group, or their so-called enemy. And again, in the case of black people, it's white folks and white supremacy and everything. It doesn't matter. Hell, it could be a white person who just struggling to make ends meet. It doesn't matter. They still part of white supremacy. That's the nonsense that you see coming from the race hustlers. But I thought I would just expose y'all to an example, a type of tactic. And really, it's not really a tactic. It's really an ideology. An ideology of making everything race. If you're a black person and you're a race hustler, just making everything about race to fuel that race anger in black folks. And of course, they profit off it. And I'm guessing the white man allow it. Of course, in the case of Tariq Nasheed, anytime a white person prosper is white supremacy. When a black person prosper, white supremacists allow it. And if a white person not prospering and fall on hard times, well, they're being sacrificed. But anyway, I just thought I would expose y'all to some old tactics that you would see coming from race hustles, from crime and white and blacks, including the leftists, so that when you run into it, you may know, and knowing is half the battle. And as always, y'all, until next time.